Yo, what is going on, guys? J.Yumeko here, and today we're back with some more The Shell Part 1, Inferno. So, last time we left off, we learned a lot of very interesting stuff, and we're currently running with the theory that, well, for one, that Shinzo Mamiya is the father of Toko. So we're running with the idea that Shinzo Mamiya is the father of Toko because we learned from Saiki that, that Shinzo Mamiya ended up marrying one of his models. And so we connected the fact that the girl in Egg portrait looked exactly like Toko, but we know it couldn't have been Toko. So I'm assuming that would have been the model that he ended up marrying. And then, obviously, right, Toko's adopted. We don't know who her actual biological parents are. Put two and two together, it's pretty simple. There's also something going on with Saiki. It seems that one of his daughters was actually a victim to the Rokushiki killer, the same killer that killed our fiance. So, there's a lot of connections coming around here. And of course, now that we have, more dismemberments turning up, things are getting a little bit interesting. And then, we also have a new character, this stuck-up head detective on these dismemberment cases. So he doesn't like us, and to be quite honest, I don't fucking like him. So without further ado, let's jump right on back into it. I just fucking woke up, so if I sound super out of it and nasally, that's why. Sorry, Jesus Christ. I found a note from Yukari on the living room table when I woke up. Apparently, she'd left to see a movie with Tojiko, meaning they'd probably gone to Shinjuku. As for me, I decided to pay Obergirl's Academy a visit. When I got to the school, I saw Saiki sweeping up the sidewalk in front of the gate.
Oh yeah, Tokisaka sensei.
Ohayou gozaimasu, Kyoto sensei. 少々お話よろしいでしょうか。
ええ、構いませんが、場所を変えた方が良さそうですね。
そうですね。
Saiki brought me to the deserted staff room.
わざわざすみません。
Tokisaka先生の表情を伺っていましたら、あまり良い話ではないとわかりますよ。
ええ。実は教頭先生に謝らなくてはなりません。
何でしょうか。
Jesus Christ, there's something in my throat.
ここ数日、自分は佐伯先生と間宮心臓について調査していました。
そうでしたか。
その過程で佐伯教頭が娘さんを亡くされていることを知りまして。
ええ、そうです。あまり思い出したくない話題でしたので。
自分も同じです。娘さんと同じ事件で婚約者を亡くしていますから。
Saiki hung his head at that revelation.
申し訳ありませんでした。
I bowed to the older man.
いえ、時坂先生が謝られることではありませんよ。
Saiki comfortingly tapped my shoulder.
隠し通せることではありませんし、隠す意味もないことですからね。
すみません、佐伯先生。
Despite his reassurances, all I could do for a while was offer apology after apology. I returned to Kichijoji after apologizing to Saiki. Rows of vibrant accessories adorning the street stalls by the station caught my eye as I passed by. Come to think of it, Tojiko asked me to get her a present, didn't she? Though honestly, I had no idea what she'd want. I tried to use Yukari's taste as a reference, but quickly gave up on that when I realized normal girls weren't into scarab beetle brooches. Or at least I seriously hope not. Maybe it would be best to just pick something at random from one of the stalls and hope for the best.
Tokisaka sensei.
おや、佐藤さん、こんにちは。
ええ、髪留めを探していたんです。
髪留めね。
It seems she really was just like any other girl her age in that regard, despite her short hair.
今私にはあのようなものの方が似合うと思っていませんでしたか？
Ayumu pointed at an antique shop that dealt in swords.
でもそういうのも好きそうだけれどね。
まあ否定はできませんね。先生は何をしていらっしゃるんですか？
ちょっとね、買い物さ。プレゼントを送る約束をしてしまってね。
時坂先輩。
いや、あいつじゃなく、参ったな。
I decided to bite the bullet and ask Ayumu for advice.
トジコ、よそみやさんになんだがね。何をやればいいと思う？
よそみや先輩ですか。
I can see why
確か
you're
に
struggling with this
悩み
then.
ますね。
Thank you, Ayumu, for giving me some companionship in this dilemma. Ayumu gazed at the merchandise on display at the
一
stalls.
応俺も教師だからね。そう派手で目立つものをあげるわけにもいかないし。
At that exact moment, I saw a ring that fit the bill perfectly. It didn't look too pricey, about 5 to 10 yen
こ
or
のく
so.
らいだったらおとなしくていいと思わないか？
そうですね。先輩だったら喜ぶと思いますよ。
うん。
The ring it was then. I turned to Ayumu and held out my hand to her.
何ですか？
君も髪留めを買うのだろう？一緒に買ってやるよ。
いえ、私は。
そう遠慮しなくてもいいよ。相談に乗ってくれたお礼さ。
そうですか。では、これをお願いします。
This guy just loves working his fucking charm on high school girls, man. I swear to God. Maybe I'm just reading into it too much, but again, I've said it 1,000 times. He has a track record, eh? Ayumu handed me a tiny flower hair clip. I took it and presented it to the stall
おや
owner.
さん、これを別々の袋に入れてくれ。
毎度あり。
どうぞ、佐藤さん。
I gave the bag with the hair clip to Ayumu.
ありがとうございます、先生。
Ayumu bowed her head in gratitude. With that, I spared myself from a round of Tojiko's grumbling. I hoped. This is gonna be one of those things where, like, something happens to Tojiko, and the only reason that we're able to, like, identify the body is because of the ring that we gave her. I guarantee you. And I hate that. I hate that so fucking much. Oh, man. I went to Nakano. There, I spotted Dr. Saito by the entrance of the
こんにち
hospital.
は、斉藤先生。
おや、時坂さんではありませんか。
どうも。休憩中ですか？
ええ、少々気分転換を兼ねましてね。
大変そうですね。
何、仕事ですからね。
Saito smiled.
高城さんの容体はどうですか？
退院は近いと思いますよ。もともと大きな外傷はありませんからね。
そうですか。それは良かった。
お腹のお子さんも順調に育っているそうですよ。
Hey, that's a good thing. Saito smiled.
元気な赤ちゃんを産んでくれることを願っています。
I truly meant that.
そういえば斉藤先生はなぜ精神科医を志したんですか？
It was a question that had crossed my mind once or twice.
私ですか？あ、いや、まさかそんなことを尋ねられるとは思いもしませんでしたね。
Saito grinned jovially.
私の家は代々医師の家系でして、幼い頃からそういう教育を受けていたんですよ。
The doctor's eyes shifted as though he were literally looking back to the past.
医療に関わり合いのあるありとあらゆる知識を身につけました。結局のところ何に向いているのかわからなかったんですよ。
Saito's smile turned self-deprecating at that moment.
精神科に決めたのは戦争が終わってからでしたね。戦争で傷ついた兵士の心を癒そうと思ったのですよ。
そうだったんですか。
It never ceased to amaze me how many different paths people could take to reach the same destination.
おや、時坂さん。
Director Kuchiki emerged from the hospital. He'd probably spotted me and came to see what was up.
どうも、朽木社長。
何かありましたかな？
いえ、近くを通りがかったので挨拶でもと。斉藤医師と話していました。
そうでしたか。こんなところではなく、中に入っていただければよかったでしょうに。
そうでしたね。すみません、時坂さん。中でお茶でもいかがですか？
いえ、 まだ用事もありますので、これで失礼します。
As appealing as that sounded, I needed to check in on
で
something.
はまたいずれ。
Who? Ah,
高
of
城
course.
いるか。
ああ、時坂か。
Takashita was perusing some documents in his
よう
chair.
やく仕事をする気になったのか。
ああ、やっぱりじっとしていても落ち着かなくてな。
Good. Seems he's back on his feet.
いつカズナが戻ってきてもいいように、俺がしっかりしていないとな。
その通りだ。俺に手伝えるようなことがあればいつでも言ってくれ。
今のところ問題はないさ。単純な人探しだからな。少しずつ勘を取り戻しながらやっていくさ。
そうか。頑張れよ。
言われなくても頑張るさ。
Shugo flashed a hint of a grin. That look assured me he'd be fine. He'd been through much more shit than me after all.
すまなかったな。いろいろと面倒をかけて。
なに、気にするなよ。お前とカズナさんが元気になることが一番だからな。
ああ。
Shugo's voice was feeble, but his nod was resolute. Yeah, I mean, that kind of fucking sucks. Your pregnant wife gets kidnapped and almost falls victim to the hands of a fucking brutal serial killer who dismembers bodies. You know, that's not exactly fun. The sun was ascending through western skies by the time I returned to Shinjuku. Now then, where to... My thoughts were derailed by that voice rising above the hustle and bustle by the station. I turned to find Tojiko and Yukari looking my way.
なんだ、映画はもう終わったのか。
ええ、これから帰るところですよ。ねえねえ、先生は捜査中？
いや、違うぞ。
I immediately denied it, sensing Tojiko would make me regret any other answer.
じゃあもう帰ると？
いや、一旦事務所に行くつもりだが。
それじゃさ、ついて行ってもいい
？This doesn't sit right with me, man. There are so many red flags that are being thrown up right now. You have Tojiko, who's seemingly wanting to be overly involved in this investigation, for one. You have the fact that she was directly involved in this resurgence of dismember cases, you know, obviously being the one to tip over the cart of eggs and have those human meat chunks fall out of them in front of her. And then the fact that, oh yeah, we're getting this ring. They kind of made a point of showing us what it looks like. It's supposed to be like, it feels like they made a point of, hey, here's a scene where you buy a ring for Tojiko. I mean, like, it just, this all feels like it's leading up to, she's gonna get too involved without our knowledge. Something's gonna happen to her, and that ring is gonna be all that's left. You know? Like, this just does not, I don't like this. I do not. I might be reading into it way too much, but that's just how I feel this is going.
なぜ？
だってさ、探偵の事務所ってなんかすごそうじゃない？
Why was that her image of places like those?
別に構わないのではないですか、兄さん。
Yukari kicked me while I was down.
先日事務所は片付けていますし、少しくらいつづり子に付き合ってあげてもいいと思いますよ。そうそう、ゆかりんはいいこと言うね。
お前ら。
昨日もわざわざ上野まで私を呼び出したではありませんか。
Excuse me. Can't argue with that.
諦めて私の言うことに従った方が身のためだよ。
お前に言われると納得しがたいんだが。
それではつづり子、兄さんをよろしくお願いしますね。うん、任せといて。
なんだゆかり、お前は帰るのか？
ええ、家のことをしなくてはなりませんから。それではまた後で。
God, I'm constantly stressed for Yukari, dude. Like, especially knowing that there is a path in which she does get targeted. And then, like, first, it's weird because for some reason she's, like, frozen in the cube, or, you know, in this ice thing. But she wasn't, like, dismembered or anything. So it's like, it just doesn't sit right with me. God, there's so much, God, I don't like it. I don't like it. Yukari turned around and headed for the station.
それじゃあ先生、行こっか。
Tojiko tugged on my arm. Why me? whatever. The sooner I get this over with, the better.
へえ、これが本物の探偵事務所か。
I couldn't tell if Tojiko was impressed or disappointed.
普通にどこにでもある事務所だろ
だってこんなに本がいっぱいあるんだもん。これ全部犯罪学とかの本だよね。
う。いや、文学全集や百科事典だぞ。
え？
家の書庫が手狭になっていたからこっちにも持ってきているんだが。
そんなんじゃ探偵事務所っぽくないよ。
お前はどんな期待を抱いていたんだよ。
もっと秘密道具とかないの？明智小五郎みたいなさ。
小説の読みすぎだ、それは。
I sat in my chair and put the paper back with the ring on the table.
何それ？
昨日トジコが言ってただろ。
そんなこと言ってないよ。お祝いしてって言っただけじゃない。
じゃあやらんぞ。
もらわないなんて言ってないもん。
Tojiko pouted and grabbed the bag.
開けてみてもいい？
いいぞ。
Tojiko had already opened the bag by the time I gave my consent, making me wonder why she'd even bothered asking to begin with.
何これ？指輪？
She took it out and stared at it in wonder.
嫌だって。
そんなことないよ。ありがとね、先生。
Tojiko studied the ring carefully before suddenly bringing it toward her left finger. Oh, her left ring
ち
finger.
ょっと待てトジコ。そこは違うぞ。
いいでしょ別に。どこにしても同じでしょ。
同じじゃないぞ。欧米で左の薬指にはめるのは結婚指輪と大抵決まっているからな。
へえ、そうなんだ。でも薬指くらいにちょうど良さそうな大きさなんだけどな。
せめて右手にしておきなさい。
そうだね。と、ちょっときついかな。
無理するなよ。
もうちょっとなんだけどな。
Tojiko stared at the ring when she finished fastening it all the way to the base of her
言っ
finger.
ておくが安物だからな。
高価なものもらったって困るもん。あれ？
どうした？
It's stuck on there, isn't it?
外れない。
Tojiko tugged on the ring to no avail.
だから無理するなと言ったんだ。
I tried to get it off, but it was stuck so tight that it wouldn't even budge.
痛いってば。
これは無理だな。
じゃあこれどうすると？
家に帰ってから石鹸水でも塗りたくってみるしかないだろうな。
そんな。
情けない声出すなよ。さて、探偵事務所には満足したか？
God, I can't help but keep saying it, but like they're putting so much emphasis on this ring and the fact that it's going on her right hand and on the ring finger and all this shit, man. It was dark outside.
満足するも何も面白いところないんだけど。
Sorry.
当たり前だろ。
What person in their right mind would want to ask an eccentric detective for help? An eccentric detective for help.
まあいっか。
俺も帰るから送っていくぞ。
そう、ありがとう先生。
The two of us took the train over to Kichijoji. Tojiko said she'd been taking a bus home from the station.
私さ、お兄ちゃんが欲しかったんだよね。
Tojiko suddenly laid that on me while we waited for the bus.
だからかな。ゆかりんが羨ましかったんだ。
俺なんざまともな兄貴じゃないぞ。
そうだね。
謙遜なんだからうなずくなよ。ゆかりに何か吹き込まれたか？
ゆかりんが先生のこと悪く言ってるのなんてあまり聞いたことないよ。私の感想だよ。
That's my sister. That's my little sister.
それはそれで嫌なんだがな。
でもさ、先生の助手していた時は楽しかったよ。
助手？そんなことさせてないだろ。
黒い聖母のこととか調べてあげたでしょ。
ああ、そのことか。
She talked a big game, but her attempts to present herself as an assistant were about as convincing as Uezomi's assertions that he didn't have a thing for Kyoko.
なんだかその時はさ、舞い上がってたんだよね。兄貴の役に立ててるぞみたいな。
Tojiko grinned sheepishly. If nothing else, at least her heart was pure. for good or for ill.
迷惑だったかな。
そんなことはないぞ。トジコがもたらした情報は十分役に立ったからな。
本当？よかった。
Just then, the bus arrived.
ねえ、先生。
なんだ？
Tojiko turned around right after she stepped onto the massive vehicle.
これからもまだまだ迷惑かけるつもりだから覚悟しといてね。
And there's the red flag. Oh god, she's gonna die. Oh fuck, she's going to die. She is going. They threw up every fucking red flag in the book.
お手柔らかに頼むよ。
それじゃね、先生。
Yep, and that's the last time we ever saw Tojiko. Oh man. I mean, could they make it any more painfully obvious that she's going to fucking die? Like, come on. The bus closed its doors and spewed exhaust as it faded into the distance. Guess I should head home too. Oh, fuck me. We're cooked. It's Jover. My room was quite warm when I woke up.
おはようございます、兄さん。
ああ、おはようゆかり。
今日は暖かいからお布団を干したいので早く起きてください。
もうしばらく眠りたいんだが。
ダメです。
I reluctantly got out of bed, routed by my sister's veiled threat. What to do today? Guess I'll stop by Moonworld or something.
ゆかり、ちょっと出てくる。
ええ、わかりました。いってらっしゃいませ。
I arrived at Kichijoji. The place was swarming with shoppers despite how early it was. I spotted a familiar face amongst the
あ
crowd.
れは村瀬医師か。
The irritable, good doctor was heading toward the station in a hurry. We're gonna save just like this. Let's call out to him.
村瀬先生。
ああ、なんだあんたか。
Murase glared at me with the ferocity of a gorgon for a moment, only to ease up when he recognized me. Though to be frank, his subsequent expression wasn't much more friendly, not by any means.
何の用だ。
いえ、お姿をお見かけしたので挨拶でもと思ったのですが。
なんだそんなことでいちいち声をかけないでくれ。これでも俺は忙しいんだ。
それは失礼。
Yeesh, you're shitting his rice this morning. I arrived at Moonworld. However,
どうしたんだい、初音くん。
Hatsune was sitting in a chair looking absolutely crushed. Yet despite the sorrow etched into her countenance, there was something charming about the way she looked defeated, for whatever reason.
はう、私なんてもうダメなんです。
何があったんだ？
I turned to the counter and asked Kyoko, since I knew I'd get nowhere with Hatsune.
いつものことよ。
いつもの？
京子さんが私の作った料理を食べてくれないんです。
ああ、なるほど。そういうことか。
そういうことかってどういうことですか？
Hatsune shot me a reproachful glare.
今回だって頑張ったんですよ。初音スペシャル第4弾なのに。
Hatsune Special Mark IV. So this wasn't her first attempt? Do I dare imagine what the other three were like? Soon enough, Hatsune showed me a plate piled with something.
どら焼き？
But if so, why was there so much whipped cream?
ホットケーキですよ。
Hatsune pouted, pointing animatedly at the plate she'd set
で
before me.
も真ん中に何かが入っているような。
マグロの油漬けとトマトを入れてみました。ちゃんとお醤油で味付けもしたんですよ。
So, pancakes with whipped cream with tuna preserved in oil and tomatoes seasoned with soy sauce. Okay.
マグロの油漬け。ツナ缶か。
So canned tuna then. No, forget that. What man has Jover to combine pancakes with soy sauce?
そうだ、時坂さんがよろしければ試食していただけませんか？
Sorry, Hatsune. I don't know if I'll live through that.
俺が？
I glanced at Kyoko, but she immediately turned away. Damn it, she's throwing me to the wolves. I don't know, do we refuse to eat it and break Hatsune's heart, or do we eat it and risk death? I don't know, man. I do not know. Ah, it's Hatsune. Let's eat it. Fuck it. It's for Hatsune.
よし、わかった。俺も男だ。
I took the plate from Hatsune, prepping for a long trip to the bathroom later.
男だからとか関係ないと思いますけれど、お願いします。
I grabbed a knife and cut into the pancakes. There were indeed red tomatoes and small chunks of fish stuffed between them. A brown liquid that must have been soy sauce had seeped into the batter. I cut off a small piece of pancake and brought it to my mouth, and the smell of soy sauce struck my nostrils. I shut my eyes tight and shoved into my mouth as fast as possible.
Hmm?
Oh?
確かに。
Is Hatsune a fucking Gordon Ramsay? Is she a cooking genius?
そうですよね。よかった。これでやっと初音スペシャルの完成です。
Hatsune heaved a sigh of relief.
まだまだ頑張ってメニューを考えますから、時坂さんもご協力よろしくお願いしますね。
ああ。
So long as she kept up this level of quality anyway. I stopped by Kichijoji Station. The sky was dyed a beautiful marigold, indicating the advent of sunset. Alright, where to? Well, let's see. So as I kind of theorized in the last video, I don't like, if there is an important plot piece, I'm pretty sure it's gonna automatically run you to that place. So like, if I needed to go to the Takashito clinic, I wouldn't need to choose to go there. It would automatically have me go there no matter what. I'm pretty sure this bit is just for like deciding, I'm assuming deciding character paths, which I'm pretty sure there are. So like, you know, if I'm trying to do something more with Kyoko or with, you know, Yukari, this is how I would go about it. We were just at Moon World, so I think we're gonna do the usual and hit up, you know, Kushida Park. I will save real quick though. I've learned that I should probably be doing that. So let's do it. I arrived at Inokashida Park. Drunkards too impatient for nightfall had already set up camp beneath the cherry trees, and past them was Chizuru Kuchiki, standing on a bridge over the pond. Her eyes were fixed intently at the surface of the water. There was just something about the sight of her that kept me from saying hi. It wasn't long before she crossed the bridge and strolled away from me toward the Kuchiki estate. She must have been worried about Toko. Okay, nothing special, nothing special. I don't know. I don't really care to go to any of these fucking places, honestly. Maybe if we went to the Kuchi Pathological Institute, we could meet up with Shugo's wife. That's kind of the only thing that I could think of. Fuck it, let's do it. I don't think it matters. I took the train over to Nakano. After buying some flowers from a florist by the station, I made my way over to the hospital.
あら、時坂さんじゃありませんか。
It wasn't long before I bumped into Koharu Yamanouchi.
こんにちは、山之内先生。
今日は高城さんのところへ。
ええ、ちょっと様子を伺いに。
先ほどいつも来られる方がいらっしゃってましたよ。
Favorite visitor? Must be in Takashito. I can only hope those two weren't trying to pull any more stunts that'd get them banned from this place for life.
そうですか。わざわざどうも。
I headed for Kazuna's room. A knock on the door and plenty of time for them to break off any hanky-panky later, I stepped inside.
あ、時坂さんじゃないですか。
She sure sounded chipper. She sure sounded chipper concerning everything that had happened to her. It was good to know none of this had put her damper on her spirits.
時坂さん、こんにちは。
That's something. I did not expect to see Hatsune here.
なんだ、君だったのか。てっきり高城のやつがいるのかと思っていたよ。
Well, better than her barging in on that idiot daring to get arrested again.
しろさんでしたら今日はお仕事があるからって事務所に行きましたよ。
そういや、そんなことも言っていたな。ようやく働く気になったか。
ええ、このままじゃ入院の費用も払えなくなるって言ってました。
それは大変ですね。
Not that you'd imagine that from how peppy she was acting. It was enough to nearly make me shake my head. Then again, it was a million times better than her being all down in the dumps about the shit she'd gone through. The sun had set by the time I got back.
ただいま、ゆかり。
おかえりなさい兄さん。魚住さんから電話がありましたよ。
Yukari peeked out from the kitchen.
魚住から。
Something must have happened, knowing him.
帰ったら連絡してくれとの伝言です。
そうか。わかった。
I reached for the phone in the corner of the living room. Afterward, I dialed the MPD's CID and asked for Uzomi.
おう、レイジか。
電話なんかしてきて何があったんだ。
いやな、バラバラの身元が分かったんで知らせておこうと思ってな。
身元？もう分かっていたはずだろう。確か加納智子って。
それは学院で見つかったやつだろ。その前にあった一般家庭に見つかった卵から出てきたやつだよ。
ああ。
Right. The one who'd been found before Tomoko Kano went missing.
詳しい経緯は省くが、仏は小林優子。都内の女学校に通う学生だ。
大場女学院ではないんだな。
ああ、別のところだ。
そうか。
Still, she was probably in the same age bracket.
お前、まだあの学院にいるんだよな。
なあ、明日が始業式だが。
言わなくても分かっているとは思うが、学生に警戒を促してくれ。一人歩きには気をつけろとな。
ああ、分かってるさ。
I hung up. This is fucking great. Oh, this is fucking great. Hey, here's this purposeful, low-key touching moment with Tojiko where she talks about you and says that you're like a big brother to her. Here's this special ring you give her. And then, oh, yeah, by the way, high school girls are still the primary target of this killer. So. No! Tojiko. Tojiko. I returned to my bedroom after a nice dinner. Alright. So tomorrow's the opening ceremony at Oba. Not to mention the date of Tojiko. Oh, fuck. Nope, she's dead. She's fucking dead. It's gonna be a thing where it's like, oh, Tojiko's not at school. I wonder what happened to her. Like, this was her big day. Wasn't she here? Oh, fuck, okay. Not to mention the date of Tojiko's party. Every day was non-stop excitement, huh? Never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined my life being like this just a few years ago. Though that still didn't change how lonely things were without Yukiko around. Cut it out, Reiji. Dredging up the past would do me no good. What mattered most was that I focused on the incidents in the present. According to Uezomi, they had ID'd another one of the case's victims. And that made two. Still, what was the perp's MO? What drove them to stuff human flesh inside eggs of all things? Whatever the reason, some insane delusion was at work here, that was for sure. They wouldn't have gone to all that effort simply to dispose of a body after all. And that wasn't even getting into the other mysteries about the flesh and the eggs. According to Natsume, it had been exclusively from arms and legs, meaning the victims' torsos hadn't been disposed of, in theory anyway. But in that case, where could they be? I rapidly shook my head to erase the image of a Matryoshka doll-esque girl that briefly flashed through my mind. Stop. You're just bumming yourself out. I decided to call it a night before I continued my spiral into negativity. I'm holding my fucking breath, dude, that we're not gonna get a fucking, killer POV. And it's gonna be Tojiko on that fucking table. Oh, man. Ugh. Something just popped into my mind. If this goes the direction that I think it's going, I'll let you know. But I'm gonna keep it to myself right now. I think something pretty major might have just happened. Anyways.
もう朝か。
I feel you, brother. I feel the same exact way right now. Yukari's shaking and introduced me to a brand new morning.
今日は始業式ですよ。兄さんも行くのでしょ？
ああ、わかってるさ。
I sat up.
では朝食の用意をしておきますので、お布団はご自分で片付けてくださいね。
Yukari left me with that task. She was right. I had places to be today, so I couldn't just park my ass on the floor forever. A magnificent aroma of coffee awaited me once I got changed and joined Yukari in the living room.
兄さん、今日はトーストでよろしいですか？
ああ、珍しいな。
そうでもないと思いますけれど。
Yukari brought some plates over from the kitchen.
新鮮なイチゴのジャムが手に入ったので。
俺は普通にバターの方がいいんだけどな。
バターは今切らしているので我慢してくださいね。
Oh well, still better than those fried ants she served me eons ago. Yukari and I went to Obergirls Academy together. There were a lot of freshmen up and about in new uniforms. Though graceful in their demeanor, their faces brimmed with smiles. They probably couldn't wait to see what excitement was lurking in the wings of their new school, an energy notably lacking from their upperclassmen. They too had probably been just like these new girls once upon a time. Oh my god, thank god, I was so fucking worried. Oh, though I suppose she was an exception.
おはよう、つづり子。
よう、相変わらずやかましいな。
Then again, it was a good thing that she never lost her cheer.
やかましくなんかないやい。
Tojiko raised her right fist, the ring gleaming in the sunlight.
なんだ、取ってないのか。
取れなかったな。もう規則違反だよこれ。
うまく指を曲げて隠しておくしかないでしょうね。
手袋でもしておこうかな。
そっちの方が目立つと思うぞ。
The entire student body assembled in the chapel. It was awfully quiet considering the large crowd. The opening ceremony proceeded solemnly, almost like nothing had ever happened. Orihime Tsukishima and Tatsuhiko Kusuka were no longer present, nor were Yui Nishizono or Haruka Imamura. And yet, this school was as unnervingly silent as ever. I marched to the staff room with the rest of the teachers after the ceremony ended. There was no desk for me there naturally. Thus, I decided I would return to the history prep room as soon as I finished exchanging pleasantries with Saiki.
佐伯教頭、
いや、お世話になるのはこちらですよ。わざわざ申し訳ありません。
いえいえ、今回はお役に立てるかどうかわかりませんが、精一杯のことはするつもりです。
Fingering the killer took top priority in this situation, which under normal circumstances meant I shouldn't have been sticking around this place, yet here I was. So what was I to do then? Wait until the police had more intel?
時坂先生、あと一つお頼みしてもよろしいでしょうか。
何でしょうか。
時々でよろしいので、美術部の方も見ていただけると大変助かるのですが。
あは、その程度でしたら構いませんよ。
では、重ねてよろしくお願いいたします。
Saiki bowed low to me.
いえ、こちらこそ。
I gave my thanks and left the staff room. Since Saiki wanted me to check on the art club, I decided to make that my first order of business. It was just about time for the students to be dropping by their clubs anyway, since the ceremony had finished. I went to the clubhouse and checked the art room, but no one was there. It seemed my estimate had been off. That said, someone's bag was sitting on a chair near the window. Who could it be? I approached the window and looked outside. An easel was sitting out on the edge of the schoolyard, which was abloom with cherry blossoms. There was only one person I knew who'd be drawing there. The bag was probably hers too. Toko. Yep, there's the music. I like how whenever you're dealing with like a specific character, it'll play like specific music. So like this is Toko's music. And then like that calming flute music is Yukari's. That's interesting. I went out and strolled over to her. She remained focused on the canvas. Knowing her, it was hard to tell whether she'd seen me or not. I simply stood back and watched from a short distance, not wanting to break her concentration. That said, I couldn't help but wonder what she was drawing.
声もかけずに覗き込もうとするのは部長法だと思わないかい？
なんだ気づいていたのか。
そりゃ気づくさ。まっすぐこちらへ向かってきたのだからね。
Toko chuckled slightly.
それで何を描いていたんだ？
なんだと思う？
Toko covered a canvas.
桜か？
違うよ。
建物か？
外れ。ここにあるとは限らないよ。
そう言われてもな。大抵ここで描いているだろう。
外で描いた方が落ち着くんだ。部屋の中だと狭くて集中できないからね。
俺とは逆だな。俺は本が密集しているようなところの方が落ち着く。
Oops. My bad.
そうなんだ。まだ私も先生のことはあまり知らないようだ。
そりゃ会ってから1ヶ月しか経っていないからな。
そうか。もう1ヶ月経ったんだね。あっという間だった気がするよ。やっぱり楽しかったから時間が早く感じたのかな。
充実した時間というのは早く感じるものだよ。
そうだね。私も絵を描いている時はそう思うよ。もっと時間があればいいのに。これじゃすぐにおばあちゃんになって死んでしまうよ。
Toko laughed, but stopped just as abruptly as she started, her countenance marred with shadow.
どうした？
ねえ時坂先生、時間が解決してくれることってあるのかな？
何があったんだい？
トウコと喧嘩したんだ。多分、私が悪いと思う。知らないうちにトウコのことを傷つけていた
Yeah,
みたい
that
なんだ。
happened last episode. So that's another thing that we saw last episode that I forgot to mention. Toko is like insanely obsessed with Toko, right? I mean, so let's make it simple. So Mizuhara has like a really bad relationship with her mother. It seems that her mother genuinely does like care for her and like love her daughter, but Mizuhara is under the impression that her mother hates her, and so she hates her mother, and that like anything that she hates must hate her, right? So she's pretty much against the world and is for some reason completely obsessed with Kujiki here. So she said multiple times like, oh no, Kujiki's the only person that that I like, and I love Kuchiki, and I like she said multiple times, I want to be Kuchiki, right? I want to be her. She's like, me and her, we're gonna fuse together and become one, and she's the only one that should say anything to me, and yada yada yada. So she's unhealthily obsessed with this girl. And so recently Kuchiki had told her that like, hey, like I'm like, I forget what it was, but it was something like, oh, I'm changing or something like that. Oh no, here's what it was. Mizuhara had told Kujiki that she was changing. And then she was like, no, you can't change. You're not allowed to change. If you change, you're not going to be the Toko that I want to be. And then ran off. So, yeah, needless to say, Toko Mizuhara is not in the right state of mind. So, yeah, no, she's a crazy bitch. I also pointed out that other than the killer POV, Toko Mizuhara is the only other one that we get that first person point of view of. Like, you really don't get that from any other character besides the killer and Toko Mizuhara. And while I don't think Toko Mizuhara is the killer exactly, it is interesting that that's been presented as such. So, Toko's side.
それは謝った方がいいな。
うん、それは分かっているんだけれど、まだトウコと話していないんだ。
時間が解決してくれると楽観的に考えていては、きっと取り返しのつかないことになるぞ。
うん、やっぱり時坂先生は違うな。伊達に年食ってないね。
年だけは余計だ。
I got up and playfully flicked Toko's forehead.
お前たちなら仲直りできるよ。 それじゃまたな。
帰るの？
いや、歴史家の準備室にしばらくいるよ。夕方になったら帰るさ。
そう。
今日はトジコのパーティーをするとか言っていたから、後でうちに来るんだろ。
そのつもりだよ。トウコもきっと連れて行くから。
ああ、楽しみにしているよ。
When I returned to the hallway and looked back outside, I saw Toko crossing the schoolyard. She must have spotted Toko. But I'd meant what I said. I was sure those two would have no trouble making up. Fucking hell, let's hope. Eventually, evening had arrived. I probably still had some time to do a few things before the party, so... here we go. Okay, we're gonna save real quick. Just on the off chance. So I think the two places that I'd probably... Excuse me, Jesus Christ. That I'd probably be most interested in visiting is probably going to be Moonworld and the Art Museum. The Art Museum because Shinzo Mamiya, of course. And Moonworld because I like Kyoko. She's amazing. We'll start here. I strolled through Ueno Park until I arrived at the museum. Maybe I should pay Stella a visit. The museum was so quiet that it'd be easy to mistake it for a mausoleum. Not that it was a particularly loud place to begin with, but it still stood in testament to the lack of visitors today. Eventually, I found Stella in a corner of an exhibit room.
Yeah.
館内ではお静かに願います。
Stella recited those words without even looking at me. Not that I could blame her, though. She was simply doing her job.
Huh?
It was then that Stella turned to me for the first time.
レイジ?
Yeah.
Boy, this sure is awkward.
何?
いや、まあ特に要件はないんだが。そうだ。今日これからうちでちょっとしたパーティーをするんだが、よかったら来ないか？
行かない。
Ouch, that's kind of blunt.
お仕事あるから無理。
そうだよな。
No surprise there, really. No shit she'd be on guard after a sudden invite like that.
悪かったな。変なこと聞いちまって。
Stella shook her head.
誘ってくれてありがとう。
Bro, there are so many baddies in this fucking game, and yet he goes for the kids. I like, don't get me wrong, I'm a broken record saying that. But, I mean, come on, like, Stella, Natsume, Kyoko, Nene, I mean, fucking, like, home run beauties. Oh, man. Stella took off on swift feet, leaving those words.
館内を走っちゃダメだろ。
Alright. Yeah, let's go to Moonworld. I went to Moonworld. A cup of Joe felt like it had really hit the spot right about now.
いらっしゃい、時坂くん。
Kyoko turned around, a tray with several coffee mugs in
な
hand.
んだ。忙しそうだな。
There were already several other customers there.
忙しいわよ。初音ちゃんが熱出して倒れちゃったから。
そうなのか。
ええ、ちょっと待ってね。
Kyoko served coffee to the other customers. Though it looked like she was having a hard time, she'd run this place by herself for years until she'd hired Hatsune, so I knew she'd be fine.
お待たせ。コーヒーでいいのかしら？
ああ。
Kyoko went back behind the counter.
初音くんの具合はいいのか？
最近働き詰めだったからかしらね。今は奥で休ませているけど、そうだ。後で初音ちゃんの様子を見てきてくれないかしら。
え、俺が？
お客さんもいるし、私が外すわけにもいかないでしょ。時坂くんだったら大丈夫でしょうけど。
I glanced at the door to Hatsune's room. Sure, why not?
変なことなんてしないさ。それじゃ、ちょっと見てくるか。
However, just as I got up, the door opened, revealing Hatsune.
初音くん？
Her face was flushed. She must have still been suffering from a fever.
あ、時坂さん、いらっしゃいませ。
ダメじゃないか、寝ていないと。
このくらいへっちゃらですよ。
ダメよ、おとなしくしてないと。
Kyoko ran over and checked Hatsune's forehead.
まだ熱があるよね。ねえ時坂くん、悪いけどこの子病院に連れて行ってくれないかしら。
それは構わないが。
Probably be best to take her somewhere local. The sooner she gets medical attention, the better.
よろしくお願いね。初音ちゃんもほら、暖かい格好して。
はい。
I dragged Hatsune out of the cafe after Kyoko swiftly helped her into something warm.
すみません、時坂さん。
Hatsune bowed to me.
気にしないでいいよ。さあ、早く病
I
院に
wonder
行
where
くと
the
しよう
nearest
か。
hospital would be. I mean, like, my first thought would be to take her to the clinic, the Kuchiki clinic. The closest medical, yep, there it is. The closest medical facility was probably Fumiya Kuchiki's clinic.
そのお注射とかするんでしょうか。
Hatsune's voice was laced with childish terror.
俺は医者じゃないから、それはわからないな。
そうですよね。
なんだい？注射は嫌いなのかい？
そんなことはありませんよ。
Hatsune frantically shook her head. Not exactly helping your case there. We crossed over the Choa line to the Kuchiki residence in Mitaka. Fortunately, Fumiya happened to be right out in front when we arrived.
どうも、朽木さん。
おや、時坂先生ではないですか。どうかなさいましたか？
いえ、今日は知り合いの付き添いですよ。診療所は休みでしたか？
今は休憩中ですよ。患者さんですか？
Fumiya regarded Hatsune.
ええ、熱があるようです。よろしければ見てもらっても構いませんかね？
ええ、もちろんです。こちらへどうぞ。
はい。
Hatsune glanced at me.
待っていてあげるから。言っておいで。
I'd be the biggest asshole on the planet if I dumped a sick girl and hightailed it out of there.
はい。
For real. Yep, here you go, Hatsune. See ya. Hatsune came back, gripping her arm.
注射されたんだね。
しないって言ったじゃないですか。
いや、俺はわからないと答えたはずだが。
Well, it was all water under the bridge, so long as this made it better.
それじゃ、帰ろうか。
どうもありがとうございました、時坂さん。
Hatsune bowed to me once more when we got back to
こ
Moonlight.
の程度構わないよ。それよりも、しっかりと暖かくして休むんだよ。
はい。ありがとうございました。
Hatsune bowed again before heading back into the cafe. Alright, now what? Here we go. So this is a new kind of third-person perspective that we've gained recently, which it doesn't pertain to any specific character. It looks like beforehand it was just telling, it was just following Uzomi as he was going through the office. So now it looks like we're talking about Shugo. Okay. It had been 2 days since Shugo Takashido had received that request to track someone down. The only clue he had to go off of was a picture of a girl taken in secret. Though in actuality, he did have one more decisive hint, but Shugo ignored it. After all, he would have preferred to avoid approaching the case from that angle if he could help it. Thus, all he could do was conduct his research around the area. The girl's photo is unfocused and in black and white, but he managed to identify her uniform in spite of the difficulties involved. He then tracked the design down to a school on the outskirts of Musashino, but his luck had ran out there.
やれやれ。どれも同じに見えるな。
In all honesty, the girls here were sorely lacking in individuality. Well, yeah, he's definitely an Obergirls. They all walked the same and wore identical expressions. Shugo couldn't help but find them eerily akin to dolls.
あら、高城さんではありませんか。
Shugo turned around when he heard his name. Strolling toward him was a girl wearing the Obergirl school uniform. However, Shugo couldn't remember who she was.
兄さんをお探しですか。
With those words, Shugo finally recalled that this girl was none other than Tokisaka's sister.
ああ、いや、違うよ。 ゆかりちゃんだっけ？
ええ。ではどうしてここに？
Yukari cocked her head.
ちょっと仕事でね。人探しですよ。
あら、どなたですか？もしかしたら知っているかもしれません。
Yukari pointed to the photo Shugo was carrying.
いや、これはお見せできませんよ。探偵には守秘義務がありますからね。
そうでしたね。申し訳ありません。
Yukari sincerely apologized. In his heart of hearts, Shugo was extremely jealous of the world of difference between her and his own devil of little sister.
それではお邪魔にならないよう私は失礼いたします。あ、そうだ。お気をつけてくださいね。
何をかな？
最近不審者が出没しているとかで、この辺りの警備が厳重になっていますから、くれぐれも通報などされないよ。
心配してくれてありがとう。
Now that was something he could get behind. Shugo resumed his surveillance of Oba Girls Academy once Yukari had left. Eventually, he sighted his target leaving the school with a friend.
この子か。
He waited until they'd passed by before he began tailing them. The pair were holding hands. They appeared to be the best of friends. It's Toko and Toko, isn't it? It's Toko and Toko. His target's companion initiated the bulk of the conversation between them. Shugo followed the two of them all the way to Kichijoji. The friend boarded a bus there. His target waved goodbye to her before taking off once again. She's not getting on a train, is she? But Shugo's worries were ultimately for naught, as the girl crossed over the tracks and headed for Inukashita Park. So the girl he's tailing is obviously Toko Kuchiki, considering she's going to Inukashita Park, which is over by the Kuchiki estate. So then it's like somebody hired him to find her, which kind of tells me this might be a job from Shinzo Mamiya or something. Shugo slipped into the crowd and tailed her. Though his target was a little far, there was no way he could lose sight of the white of her uniform. The fact that she was walking in this area meant her home was probably nearby.
ただいま。
The girl entered a house. Shortly thereafter, Shugo reached the perimeter of the resident himself.
ここか。
He checked the nameplate at the gate, finding the surname Kuchiki along with the names Fumiya, Chizuru, and Toko. Toko was probably the name of his target. All Shugo had to do now was check their family register, and then his job would be done.
にしてもな。
Shugo checked the photo his client had given him one last time.
詳しくは知らないが、あいつ何に巻き込まれてるんだ？
The photograph showed a familiar man right next to Toko Kuchiki, one Reiji Tokisaka. Ah. Okay. I see. So somebody hired Shugo to track down Toko, but the picture that they've provided is a picture of Toko and us, Reiji. Excuse me. That is interesting. So it's like, who could have hired him? I mean, first off, that insinuates somebody was following Toko and us. Of course, we don't know necessarily the contents of the photo. But somebody was following us, took a picture of us in secret, and then hired somebody to find Toko. Which is interesting. Because it's like, why? If that person already had a photo of, had followed us around, surely they know about us, or they know about Toko at least. So my mind immediately went to, okay, maybe Toko Mizuhara had hired them, but that would make no sense. Why would she hire somebody to find a missing individual when Toko isn't missing? So that kind of leads me to think that maybe it was Shinzo Mamiya, maybe? I mean, that would make sense to me, right? Like, maybe this picture circulated, got around to him, and he's like, oh, hey, that looks exactly like my wife, and I know that we had a daughter that's gone missing, so that must be my daughter. Find her for me. right? So, interesting. Very, very interesting. I holed myself up in the library once I got home. Yukari was getting the party ready in the living room, so this was the only place in the house I could get some solace. I sat on the chair and picked a random book off the shelf. It was none other than Alexandre Dumas' The Count of Monte Cristo. Come to think of it, Rohiko Kuroiwa wrote a Japanese adaptation of the book called The Ruler of the Cave, didn't he? Seemed like it'd be fun to read both versions to spot the difference. I got back up and turned to the bookcase.
どこだったか。
何が？
だから岩窟王。
岩窟王？
I turned around to find Togo standing there, head cocked curiously.
なんでここにいるんだ？
それはご挨拶だね。今日はよそ宮さんのパーティーだろ？
それは知ってる。お前が来ることもな。
時坂さんに聞いたら、先生がここに逃げたと言われたからさ。
Toko smirked.
みんな来たのか。
東子と佐藤さんはね。よそ宮さんがまだかな。
そうか。水原さんとは仲直りできたのか？
That was quick, seeing how it had only been a few hours since we last talked.
当たり前じゃないか。私と東子の仲だよ。
Says the one who was worrying so much this afternoon.
さあ行こう。みんな待ってるよ。
Toko dragged me off. Man. Toko and Ayumu were sitting on the living room sofa.
お邪魔しています、時坂先生。
こんばんは。
そうかしこまらなくてもいいよ。のんびりするといい。
Another interesting thing I'd like to kind of bring back up regarding Toko. Mizuhara had told us, well, when we were like reading her inner monologue or whatever it was, she had specifically said that like I don't hate Professor Tokisaka, but I don't like him either. Right? So that's kind of interesting. Because she's told us to our face, like, I don't like you, I hate you, stay away from Toko. But then for her to seemingly have the feeling that, like, I don't hate him, but I also don't really like him is kind of interesting. Especially for somebody who self-proclaimedly hates, or, hates everything and thinks that everything she hates her back. So it's kind of interesting. Ayumu was one thing, but Toko looked nervous, almost as though she was sitting on a ticking time bomb.
そうだよ。自分の家だと思ってくれればいいさ。
お前が言うんじゃない。
This one, on the other hand, could probably benefit from standing a bit on ceremony.
兄さん、
Yukari summoned me over to the kitchen.
どうした？
つづり子はまだ来ていませんか？
Oh my god. Please, please, please. Ah, please.
そうだな。まだのようだが。
一旦自宅に帰ったはずですけれど。
電話をかけてみたらどうだ？
ええ、そうですね。
Yukari left the room. My heart was pounding a mile a minute. But why? Could it be?
先生？
I snapped to my senses and found Toko scrutinizing my features.
なんだ？
なんだか怖い顔をしているよ。
気のせいだろ。
Unfortunately, I couldn't do anything to hide the tension sculpting my countenance. I went outside and watched the road that passed by my house. No one was there. Suzuriko still hadn't shown. Part of me expected her to pop out of thin air any second like nothing had happened at all. And yet, the desolate street betrayed my hopes. I heard the door creak open behind me. It was Yukari.
兄さん、つづり子はもうだいぶ前に家を出ているそうです。
そうか。
差し出がましいようですが、魚住さんにも連絡しておきました。
Good thinking,
こちら
Yukari.
に車
Good
で来てい
fucking
ただける
thinking.
そうです。
魚住が。
ええ、皆さんを家へ送らないといけませんし、つづり子を探すのも。
そうだな。すまないゆかり。気が回らなかった。
いえ、私は家の中にいますので。
Yukari walked back into the house, clearly distraught. God damn it. Where the hell is Tojiko? There weren't even 2 kilometers between this place and South Nishi Ogikubu. It was approximately half an hour on foot, and there weren't even any places to stop along the way. As I mulled over my thoughts, a pair of lights zoomed down the road. A black Datsun drew near.
Leiji, 待たせたな。
Uzomi parked the car in front of me and got out.
待っていたのはお前じゃねえよ。
わかってる。一人行方知れずだって。一応西荻窪駅の
Let's
交
stop.
番には
Let's
伝えて
let's
おいた。
fucking jump on this.
ああ。だがその前にうちに来ているお嬢さん方を家まで送ってやってくれないか。
おう、任せておけ。
And so, I sent Toko, and Ayumu with Uzomi before returning to the deserted living room. It was already well past 9 p.m.
兄さん、つづり子のお母さんが警察に届けを出したそうです。
わかった。
I lit a cigarette with a nod.
つづり子は大丈夫ですよね。
Well, considering this game threw every single red flag that they could possibly fucking think of, I don't want to fucking answer that question.
今はそう信じるしかない。
I hated how the only thing I could offer Yukari was that half-assed response.
魚住が戻ってきたら西荻窪の方にいると伝えておいてくれ。
ええ、兄さんも気をつけて。
I put on my coat after stubbing out my barely lit cigarette. There wasn't a moment to waste lounging around at home.
つづり子!
Oops. I ran through the streets shouting her name, and as I did, I scanned the parks and rivers, taking care not to let a single clue evade my attention. Though I bumped into a beat cop along the way, he didn't have any idea where Suzuriko might be. A car's headlights washed over me from behind.
レイジ、ここにいたか。
Uzomi got out of the car.
すまないな。遅らせることもさせてしまって。非番だったのか。
寮にいたからな。同僚からこいつを借りてきた。
Uzomi reached across the roof of his car.
所轄に捜索願いが出たらしいな。俺らのところまで上がってくるかはわからんが、できる限りのことはするつもりだ。
ああ、すまない。
とりあえず車に乗れ。この辺りで探せるところ、総当たりで行くぞ。
わかった。
I rode shotgun in the Datsun. Doesn't look like I'll be getting any sleep tonight. Oh, please, for the love of God. Please, for the love of God. No! No, please, please, I'm begging you, please. No, fucking please, God, no. Oh my God. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, please, man, please, dude. You already put me through this with Orihime. Oh, man. Oh, fuck. It had been ever so simple. All it took was giving her a little whiff of anesthesia and stuffing her in a suitcase, bringing her to this place, stripping off her clothes and restraining her to the table. Nothing more, nothing less. Her body was slender and symmetrical. Honestly, turning her into a corpse almost felt like a waste. Still, she had to be changed. She had to be transformed in the name of a noble cause. Fingers grasped the hand of a saw. The weight of the tool was now familiar to the hand that wielded it. The blade would remove that which wasn't needed for long. Soon enough, the saw sank its jagged fangs into the base of one of the restrained legs. The girl's eyes jolted right open in response. Good thing I gagged her. Now I won't have to listen to those unsettling screams. No, dude. No, dude. No, dude. Fuck! You gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. Oh my fucking God, dude. Oh my... God fucking damn it. Oh my God. She glanced at the harbinger of her suffering. Tears welled in her eyes. What kind of look sculpts my face right now? Joy? An emotionless mask, perhaps. The free hand caressed its owner's cheeks to find out why. To find out, only to grow sticky with blood. It seemed they'd not escaped the splatter brought on by the dismemberment. Irked by the sensation, the hand wiped the blood off on the girl's chest. The heart beneath it was pounding like a jackhammer. But before long, the beat died down. Soon, the saw settled atop her left shoulder. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. The girl fainted and convulsed, and mere moments later, the room reeked of her evacuated bowels. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Jesus fucking Christ. It was only after her right arm was completely severed that the notable difference from her left one was noted. Her right hand was clenched into a fist. What's more, there was a ring around her ring finger. Doesn't matter. I'll be getting rid of this arm either way. This is brutal, man. This is brutal. This is fucking brutal, man. The cut surfaces were coated in paper mache, sealing up the wounds. It seemed fixing her up would be far simpler than anticipated. The sanguine color soaking into the clay would provide nice accents. However, the short hair was not ideal. A hand tilted her immobile jaw. I'll just have to use a wig, that's all. Nothing more, nothing less. It'd be ever so simple.
人を愛したことはない。愛されることの恐怖を知っているから。だから誰も愛さない。そう思っていたのに。あなたの存在が全てを変えた。
I'm speechless. I don't think I have ever felt I've never been so genuinely disturbed and distraught by the content of one of these games before. But that right there was probably that had my fucking gut twisting. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I am so fucking angry. I'm like shaking with anger right now. I have not felt such strong emotion over one of these games since we played Claned and I cried during Fuko's route. I mean, it's... Oh, fuck me. part of me wants to keep playing, but I think we're going to call it at this. Unfortunately. I predicted all the flags. I knew it was going to happen. But this is really, really fucking brutal. I mean, seriously fucking disturbingly brutal. I had said earlier that if things played out how I thought they would, I would tell you what I was thinking. And unfortunately, things have played out as I thought they would. What I was thinking earlier was that, and I've said this before, a while ago. My suspicions have come back around to none other than the author of the Egg of Nianus themselves. Where is he? Shin Katsuragi. There's something, I don't know if I'm going to be able to explain this correctly in the fucking state I'm in right now, of just shock and disbelief. Tojiko is a major fucking fan of Shin Katsuragi, right? For one. And it's just, when I sit here and I analyze everything that happened, everything has been Tojiko centered. There's not going to be anything with this whole case, this whole case here, that isn't going to be important that happened with her. The ring is more than likely what is going to allow us to identify her. The whole, like, oh, I wish I had a big brother like you. Again, all the red flags were thrown up. But another thing is that it's awfully fucking coincidental that Shin Katsuragi, for some reason, was and I pointed this out when it first happened. He uncharacteristically makes a trip out over our way, which this guy's a fucking recluse. He uncharacteristically makes a trip out our way. And just for a quote-unquote change of pace, right? And then, of course, Tojiko is a huge fucking fan of his. And again, I'm not explaining this very well, but this motherfucker, I've been suspicious of him since we were introduced to this guy. How come, out of all these characters, Kyoko we see constantly, Yukari we see Toko we see constantly, Hatsune, Uzomi, all these people, Saiki even, for fuck's sake. All these people we see constantly. Even Stella, for crying out loud. These are all people that we see on a constant basis, except Shin Katsuragi. He's here, he's in our notepad, but we've only met the motherfucker 2 goddamn times. The author of the book that spurred on this string of incredibly gruesome and brutal dismemberments, disembowelments, and killings. And we've only met him 2 times? We've only had 2 extremely brief interactions with him? That's all that we have. Who had a direct connection to Yui Nishizono that went to the Kuchiki Pathological Institute. And we've only met him once? What? That's awfully fucking suspicious to me. Why haven't we followed up on this guy? There are so many things. There's so many things that we just don't know about him, and we haven't followed up on him. We're putting more effort into fucking finding out more about Shinzo Mamiya than Shin Katsuragi. I mean, it's weird. It's fucking suspicious. And right now, out of the people that we've met, I can't think of anybody more fucking in line to be the killer than Shin Katsuragi. I called it when I said that Kuzuka had a fucking accomplice and that he wasn't acting alone, which is obviously very fucking clear. And I guarantee you, if we ever got Kuzuka to come to his senses, he would say, yeah, I did have somebody else that I was working with. I guarantee you, he probably had somebody else that he was working with that inspired him to kill. I don't think Kuzuka was doing this stuff on his own. Somebody approached him with the promise that if you do what I say, you can bring your sister back to life. And guess what kind of story follows the plot line of collecting body parts in order to bring somebody back to life? Oh yeah, that's right. The Egg of Nianus by Shin Katsuragi. That's pretty fucking convenient, isn't it? And yet there's been so little information from the motherfucker that wrote the goddamn book. And so now what? Now we fucking lost Orihime. We couldn't save her. And now we've lost fucking Tojiko, who had nothing to do with this shit at all. And now she's dead too. I mean, like, fuck, dude, I'm about to fucking start crying, bro. I know it's fucking stupid of me to get so emotional about this. But she had nothing to do with this shit at all. I mean, why go after her of all people? I don't get it. And I'm fucking pissed. I'm so fucking pissed. I mean, I just like... I don't know if I want to keep. I don't know if I want to keep going for this episode at least. Like I so very much want to keep going, but I am just so fucking distraught right now that I don't want to keep going at the same time, because dude, I know that eventually we're gonna come across the fucking the minced fucking remains of her. And we're going to have to pick out that ring that we gifted her, look at it, and be like, oh, this is Tojiko's remains. She's dead. And then eventually we're going to find the fucking body. Because keep in mind, this person is keeping the torsos. He gets rid of the limbs, minces them up, puts them in eggs, and then gets rid of and then keeps the torsos and does whatever else with them. You know, fuck me, man. I mean, on one hand, I'm so fucking angry, but on the other hand, I can't help but acknowledge the fact that this game has done such an amazing job at getting me angry. And it makes me sit here and wonder how many more people that we know have to die for this. I mean, nobody, like, if you're a high school girl, you're not safe. Yukari, Toko, and Toko. I mean, Ayumu's still there. Fucking, I would even be concerned about Hatsune with how young she is. And you know, it's sad because probably this relation section in Suzuriko's profile is probably going to be switched over to victim soon enough here. But that's for another time. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please tell me in the comment section below and hit the like button. If you enjoyed this video or any other videos or series on my channel, then I highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button so you'll be notified when a new one of those videos comes out. Anyways, that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.